Welcome, Heidi and Matt. It is so lovely to meet you. Thank you for giving me a call and coming in and setting up today's meeting. So, we're getting married.
Yep.
How exciting. When did this all come about?
A year ago.
Yeah, I asked her basically a year ago, nearly exactly, over in Thailand.
In Thailand. How nice. Destination proposal, destination wedding?
No, we're getting married out at Summer Grove.
Oh, how nice. Okay, now I'm just going to put it out there. I hope you don't mind if I just make some notes throughout the meeting. I just like to take down anything I feel is important or might come in handy later. Just little bits of information like that. That's okay?
Yep.
Beautiful. Now, that being said, this is an obligation-free meeting, so we're just meeting today to have a chat. I have spoken with Heidi on the phone and gone over some things, but this is just for us to get to know each other, make sure my style suits you guys, and then after we have our meeting today and I go through everything and explain it, you two can go off and decide if I'm the person for you, if I'm the celebrant to help solemnise your marriage, and then we can go from there. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Good.
Thank
Beautiful. So today I just want to get to know the pair of you. I'll go over the required legal documentation of solemnising a marriage. I'll go over my fee structure so that you're fully aware of everything that's entailed. We may fill out some forms and I'll go through what's expected in a ceremony as well. So before I begin, I also just want to clarify the points that I discussed with you on the phone, Heidi. You're both over the age of 18. You've both never been married before. No? And you're both born in Australia.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, engaged in Thailand. How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Pretty good?
Bit of a surprise. So.
Bit of a surprise.
Very
Didn't
big
see
surprise.
it coming.
Didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah, down on one knee, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, the whole kit and caboodle.
Panic attack afterwards.
Panic attack. How nice. And so how long have you guys been together for?
Ooh, over 7 years now.
7 years. Wow. That's a feat in itself, isn't it? Congratulations. And how did you meet?
We've been friends for ages at school, and then just, I don't know, kind of one day we just thought, why not? We've been friends for so long.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Friends first, relationship second?
Yep.
That's nice. Friendship is a great foundation for any relationship. Beautiful. Okay, so I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and as a marriage celebrant. So I've been in the industry for 2 years. I've solemnised up to 20 marriages within the 2 years. So it is something that I do take quite seriously, but saying that, I do like to have fun with it. So young, new, soon-to-be newlyweds like yourself, usually, you know, you're there, you've got your young friends around you, you're there to have a good time, and there's always a really great energy there as well. So that's something that I just absolutely love being a part of. I think it's a real pleasure. I always feel very honoured when a couple ask me to be part of their wedding and to solemnise their marriage. It's a real honour. And so part of what I do as the celebrant is I will prepare and write the ceremony for you. So that includes the whole layout of the day. You know, I'll help orchestrate once I'm there, tell people where to sit, obviously under your instructions, and make sure the whole process runs smoothly. You'll have music and things like that, and I'll make sure they play in all the right places. I'll also prepare and write the ceremony, so the words that will be spoken on the day, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail shortly. And you know, different things that you want to include, I'll map all that out and I'll go over that with you, and we'll see how that all feeds in it together. I'll also prepare and lodge the legal documents. So a lot of people don't realise there is a legal aspect to getting married, and there's different documents and forms that need to be filled out, and so I've gone through specific training in order to fill all of that out correctly and lodge that, so then there's no, you know, legal impediments to when you are getting married. Everything's done correctly. And I also take legal responsibility for the ceremony. So if anything does stuff up, it's on me. But I don't plan on that happening. Okay. So what is it exactly that you guys are looking for in a celebrant, or what is it that you want to get out of your ceremony?
Oh, pretty much you.
Oh, stop it.
We just want it more laid back and more fun.
Yeah.
Not as serious.
Yep. So it's not super structured.
Yeah.
You want, you know, feed off each other's energy, that sort of thing.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, it's outside.
Yeah.
Outside.
If
not
it doesn't
like
rain.
Yeah.
Not like a super,
Yeah.
super
We'll
religious wedding.
Okay, so you're not religious?
No.
That's alright. So we won't be including any religious
No.
ceremonies
No.
or anything like that. That's fine. I am a civil celebrant, so there's no religious aspect to it at all. It's just whatever you wish and what you want to include within the ceremony.
Cool.
So outside, so tell me again, and I'll just start filling this form out, you know, pending that we do want to go ahead. I can fill some things out on this form, so it just streamlines that process if you do decide to engage me in the future. So what date are we going to be getting married on?
26th of April.
26th of April, and that's next year.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And have we got a time that the
2:30.
ceremony is going to be starting? 2:30 in the
I think.
afternoon. April, it should still be nice and warm then, so hopefully.
Still not too hot.
Yes, and the sun will be out, no rain like we talked about. And how long do you want the ceremony to go for?
Not too long. We don't really like long.
No.
But still,
How
Like-
long? How long was Molly and Jade's?
I don't know. I think theirs was about 45.
Well, then
Yeah.
probably like half an hour.
Like 30
Yeah.
minutes. Is
Yeah.
that normal? Or?
Yeah, so 30 minutes is your average ceremony. There are some a little bit shorter, and obviously some friends of yours went
Yeah.
a little bit longer. Comes down to what you want to include, and we'll go through that in a little bit more detail shortly. It comes down to what you want to include. I do recommend 30 minutes is a good period. A lot of people will come to me and go, I just want a short, simple one. But you know, it's hopefully, and fingers crossed, the only time you're ever going to get married in your life.
Definitely.
So you want to make the most of it, and you don't want to look back and go, oh, we didn't take it
It was
all
too
in,
rushed,
we didn't have
yeah.
enough time, that sort of thing. And you said it was at Summer Grove?
Yeah.
Yes.
So just out the back of Coorul.
Beautiful. I've done a wedding out there. It's very nice. The barn especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. And if it does rain, will it still be outside or?
No, we'll
No,
go to
no.
the chapel.
In
They've
the-
got a chapel up there, so we'll get married in the chapel.
Beautiful. And that's you've sorted that all out with them and you've organised
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they have
We'll
it
just
like
have to-
they have it set up. I think you make a decision the
No.
night before.
No, we made a decision the morning.
The morning
yeah.
of.
Yeah, the
Oh,
morning
Oh,
of.
beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we've got a little bit of that information there. So nice and simple. We know the date that we're having it on. I am available on that date, so that's
Perfect.
fantastic as well, pending everything goes well today. We've got the location. Okay, and now, do you know how many wedding guests are we planning on having on the day?
80.
80. Beautiful. Nice. Not too big, not too small.
Mhm.
Lovely. And how many have you already decided on your wedding party?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So how many people will we have in the wedding party?
Well, there's us two and then four
Each.
Groomsmen?
each. So there's
10.
So a
10.
total of 10. Beautiful.
Good maths.
Great math. Okay. Now, are you having a theme or anything like that in the wedding?
No.
No? Are you doing a colour scheme? So when afterwards, you know, certain flowers that you are planning on having in the
Bright.
wedding or bright?
Flowers.
How nice. It sounds like it's going to be a beautiful, fun day regardless. And have you already chosen your photographer or videographer?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've got both of them.
And do you know their names? or their companies?
Photographers, HR Productions.
Beautiful.
And videographer is Josh North Coast.
Lovely. It's just helpful to have all of this information because then on the day I know who to speak with in terms of positioning and things like that, and we can
Yeah.
make sure the day's nice and perfect for you. And then a signing table which you'll need in order to sign this marriage certificate. Is the venue providing one of those, or do you need me? They've got one.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I don't need to bring one of those along. And how are you going with your song choices?
Good. Got most of them,
Yeah.
haven't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about 6 months away, so lots of finer details to come. Lovely. And do you mind if I just ask, how did you get in contact with me? So, you know, where did you find out about my
Yeah, we
services?
referred from a friend who actually visited one of your weddings.
Oh,
and they recommended you.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Lovely. Oh, that's so nice.
Thought
It's
we were
good
the
that
kind
I...
of same what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's lovely to hear that I've obviously had an impact somewhere. Lovely. Okay, so when we do talk about the ceremony and what we want to do and what we need to incorporate within all that, there's generally 7 stages to any sort of wedding. So initially we have the introduction. So that's the walking down the aisle, you know, greet each other, and then I will generally give an introduction. So generally it's the story of how you two met, the love story. So we can touch on that later, how that friendship blossomed into romance and all different things like that. It really sets the scene and it sort of reminds everyone, oh, that's right. You know, there's little bits that everyone remembers and everyone will get joy out of hearing about your story in the day. Then there's also, the next step is, and again, it's completely depends how you feel about it. There's a poem or a reading or something like that. Now that doesn't have to happen. It's complete personal preference. You know, you might find a piece that you like that you would like me to read out, or there might be something you may want to incorporate a friend or a loved one or something like that. Is that something that you've thought about at all?
Not yet.
Not yet, no, and that's completely okay. And that's, now I have a big folder of all different poems and you know, rituals and sayings and different things, music if you haven't finalised that I've used or found over the years that I find works really well. So I'll send, I've got your contact details, Heidi, beautiful. So I can send all that through, and that will really help you in planning your ceremony.
That'd be good, thank you.
Yeah, I'll also have different examples of introductions within there as well. So you can go, oh, I like this bit, I don't like this bit, is there a way we can combine these? Every ceremony that I do, I customise. So I'll sit down and I'll work on that and work through that so that it really reflects you two as a couple.
Perfect.
There's also a part called the monitum, which is the legal requirement that I have to say as a celebrant. So that is just, I am duly authorised by law, and that really is the only part that I need to say. Readings and things like that, that's where you can bring in your family members and your friends and things like that if you wish. But that is a legal requirement in order to solemnise the marriage, and that's just something that I have to say. And then generally followed by that is the vows. So have you talked about if you're going to be doing your own vows, or you know, you've said simple, but I can also see there's a bit of a story there. So is that something you've talked about?
Yeah, I think we're going to do our own vows.
Yep,
Yeah.
beautiful.
We'd like to do our own vows.
Yeah, and that's absolutely lovely. So it just adds that personal touch that, you know, it gives you two a chance to express your love and everything like that. I'm sure there'll be speeches later on in the night, but this is a nice time for you two to really take in that moment of your ceremony. Beautiful. Now, on top of your own vows, there is just another section there, again, part of the legalities of it, that will just need to be said, and you've seen this on TV, I'm sure you've seen this at all the weddings you've been to, and it's just I, Heidi Stonestreet, take you, Matthew Wishart, to be my lawfully wedded husband. And, you know, we can vary on that a little bit, but just along those lines, they're the specific words that Heidi will have to repeat, and then Matt, you'll have to repeat as well. But we'll include that, and we'll generally say that after you've expressed your love to each other. Beautiful. And there's also something we talk about in ceremonies, rituals. So the exchanging of the rings is a ritual that is your traditional ritual, and it symbolises, you know, that ring symbolises your love for each other and that you're bound to each other. On top of that, I'm not sure if you've looked into anything else like that. You know, you can do, there's rope tying ceremonies, you can both light a candle. Heidi, you have a candle, Matt, you have a candle, and you can light a candle in the middle to signify the pair of you coming together. Have you thought about that, or?
We don't really haven't thought about any of the different.
Well, I've got all of that in the information that I'll send over to you, so you'll have that you can look into. But most people go with the standard ring. Everyone likes, you know, to put their own spin on it. So I just like to pop it out there, and you know, if it's something that you want to engage in, then we can go from there. Beautiful. So after the rings comes the fun part. Will you be exchanging a kiss? Yes. Yeah. Not too bashful. We'll be able to get one out in front of everyone.
I think so.
Yes, that sounds
Lovely. No worries. So after we exchange the rings, the vows, and then the rings, we'll do the kiss.
Yeah.
And then from the kiss, I'll take you over and we'll sign the marriage documents. Have you picked your witnesses? So you need 2 witnesses to marry to the ceremony.
I'll play out my sister.
You know, so some people do their
I'll just have Josh.
Yeah. They're like maid of honour and best.
Some people do that. I married another couple who had their close friends in their wedding party, and then they both had a sibling be their witness, just you know, as a way to incorporate
everyone.
So that is, again, don't have to decide on that today, but we will ask those 2 people to come and witness the marriage as well.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
We could have Jenna and Chris do it.
Whatever.
Brother and sister.
Yeah. So then that's another little. Are they both in your wedding party as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a nice little thing that keeps it within the family as well, which is really nice. And then at the end, I'll do the fun. I now introduce. Will we be taking the last name? Will I be introducing Mr. and Mrs. Wishart?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we'll be doing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can walk back down the aisle. Are you going to confetti, all those fun things, bubbles? There's lots of different options there that we can talk about. I'm sure Summer Grove's already suggested to you. Lots of fun different things there we can do as well. Beautiful. And, obviously if you decide to go with my services, I'll fine tune all of this to meet your requirements once we pick on, if we are going to do a poem and different things like that. And we can do a rehearsal if you desire as well. That's all included within my services.
Yeah.
At no additional charge. And there's different things that I think people overlook on the day, but is really important that if we discuss prior, where you want people to sit while the ceremony is happening. At the end of the ceremony, once you walk down the aisle, people can sort of stand around a bit awkwardly because they don't really know what to do next. But if you guys talk about it and come up with what you want to do with my help, prior to that, before the ceremony begins, before yourself and even Matt arrives at the venue, I can walk around and say, okay, once the ceremony finishes, we can do this, this, and this, and then everyone's on the same page. So that's what I'm there to do, really orchestrate the day, make it nice and smooth for the pair of you, and things like that.
That's a good idea because we've been to a few weddings and everyone doesn't know really what to do at the end of it.
Yeah. Sometimes, you
It's a
just,
bit awkward.
I've been to weddings myself, and you're like, oh, where do I stand? Where do I go? What do I do? So I find that open communication prior to the ceremony, then everyone's on the same page, and it's just all about having a good time and celebrating the
That
pair
sounds
of
good.
your love and relationship. Lovely. Okay. So do you have any questions on what we've discussed so far?
Everything sounds really good.
Everything sounds good. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Okay, beautiful. And as obviously we'll develop on that as time goes and everything like that. Okay, now just so that everything is on the table, I also need to discuss my fee structure with you. So I have a copy of my statement of fees here, which you can have a look through. So on there you do see that there's a $100 deposit. So when we complete your notice of intent to marry, which we'll go through later, and once you decide, we're happy with you, Rayna, we would like your services, then that $100 is due, and it is a non-refundable deposit. So that secures that date. I don't book another wedding in. I don't double book or anything like that. That will be your date and your date only, unless otherwise advised by yourself or extenuating circumstances, which won't happen. Then the total fee will be $400, so that's less the 100 will be 300 outstanding, and that's due just 1 month prior. I am flexible for 2 weeks after that. There is a 2-week non-refundable period prior to, but I do like to have it. Also takes the stress off your plate if everything's paid up and done a month prior. You're not wondering where the money's going. You're just focusing on the really important last minute details.
Sounds good.
Beautiful. So it will be a total of $400, $100 deposit, and the remaining $300 will be due the 26th of May before next year. Lovely. That all sounds good. No questions there either?
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Lovely. Now I'll just check. Okay. Now the notice of intent to marry, which I just discussed. This is the legal document, and this is what we do need to fill out if you're happy to continue with my services. And that is what I need to submit as part of your marriage application and as part of finalising the legal requirements of your marriage. This just needs to be completed up to 1 month prior. So we've got 5 months to get that in, and it can be done anywhere up to 18 months prior, but we're past that point, so it's fine for us to fill that out now. It just needs to be done prior to the 26th of May. So there's different things on there. In order to complete that, I do just need to have proof, as we discussed previously, that you're both over 18, you both were born in Australia. I need the time and date, the date and location, of your birth. So I can do that just with a birth certificate or an Australian passport as well. So when we get to filling that out, we'll set up another meeting, we'll bring that in, and you can bring in those legal documents with you as well. Beautiful. And then on top of that, we will also complete a declaration of no legal impediment to marriage. So that just, there's a few things on there, and you can read over that, make sure it's all correct. It's just saying that there's no reason why you legally shouldn't be married, that you're not married to someone else, that you're of legal age, and different things like that. Obviously, I would cite those documents, but then it's also up to you to say there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get married, which by the sounds of it, there's none at all. Okay. How's all that sound?
Sounds very
Sounds
good.
good.
Sounds
Yeah.
cruisy.
Yeah,
Feel
sounds
like we don't have
perfect.
to do too much, don't have to worry about it too much.
Well, that's exactly what I'm here for. So that is the role of the celebrant, as I said, to make sure everything runs smoothly for yourselves. That's my job to be organised, thank you, and have it all planned out. And you can take those home with you so you know what you're signing before you sign your life away, and that along with the other documentation that we'll have as well. Okay, and then we'll get all of that. Beautiful. Yeah, as I said, role of the celebrant is to just make it as easy as possible for you guys. So you've already got the venue, and I'm sure bridesmaids and groomsmen, there's always dramas going on there, and flowers and a million different things to think about, that you shouldn't have to worry that you're married, there's going to be any issues with the legalities of it. That's up to me to make sure it all runs beautifully and smoothly for
Thank
the pair
you.
of you.
Yeah.
No worries at all. Okay. Now finally, I would also just like to talk about relationship education. Have you heard of that before? Is that something that you've talked about?
No.
Okay. So it's part of my legal obligation to bring this to you. Now, it's not because I've seen anything that gives me any worries or anything like that. It's just about making sure that you two are both wholly and solely know what you're getting into. And because right now you're probably focused on the wedding, it's really exciting, we're thinking about the here and now, but it takes a chance, gives you a chance to step back and think about the future. You know, do your morals align? Have we talked about kids? How many kids do we want to have? You know, boring things about taxes and shared bank accounts and all different things like that. It just is really a safe environment for you for open and honest discussion, to make sure you're on the same page, obviously going into one of the biggest days of your life. So I do have a brochure here, which again, I'll put in the pack for you that you're going to take home. It's called the Happily Ever Before and After. It is issued by the Federal Government of Australia, and it outlines again the obligations and consequences of marriage, as well as outlining different availability of marriage education and counselling. So again, I know you've lived together for a while, I know you've been together for 7 years, so you're doing really well, you're obviously doing something right. But again, it's just another option that I want to put out there. You can read through the brochure, go through it when you go home, and if I have lots of contacts locally, so you know, if it is something that you're interested in, we can get in touch and do something like that. So just, really about building on your current relationship, making it even stronger
Than it ever was.
Yes, as you head into, you know, the rest of your lives together. Beautiful. Any questions on that?
No, that
No.
sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, now it is completely voluntary, and it won't be issued by myself. As I said, if you do choose to engage in that, it will be something that I'll recommend someone for you to go and speak to in regards to that. Beautiful. Okay. Do you have any questions on anything that we've spoken about today?
No.
When do we look?
Oh, stop it. It's very comforting to hear that you like everything that I've spoken about today, and obviously, you know, feeling very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
So I've taken a few notes about the pair of you and different things that I've seen and noticed. I want you to go home and discuss today that you're happy with everything I've spoken about, because this is a joint decision with both of you. As I said, you'll have the legal documents that you can take home and look through. You can also, I'll send through that package so you can start looking and discussing if you want to include the poems or different rituals or something like that. And then you make the decision you're happy to continue with my services. We'll meet up again, and that's when we can fill out those legal documents. You can bring in your birth certificate or your passport, things like that. So the notice of intent to marriage and the statutory declaration of no legal impediment to marriage. And then we can finalise the deposit as well and really lock in and secure that day.
Cool.
That sounds like a good idea.
Lovely. And then once all that boring stuff's out of the way, we can work on the ceremony.
We
so
can have fun.
we can have fun, we can work on your vows, work on the ceremony, everything like that, and then do a rehearsal, and then it will be the big day.
How exciting.
How exciting. Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Matt and Heidi,
Thank
for coming
you for
in and
having
listening.
us.
No, my absolute pleasure. It was lovely meeting you and getting to know you a little bit. And just, you've got my contact number, so I'll wait for you to get in touch with me. and I look forward to hearing from you.
We'll be in
Awesome.
touch.
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Heidi.
Thank you.
Matt,
Thank
thank you. Welcome back, Heidi and Matt. It's so lovely to have you here again. Thank you so much for giving me a call and letting me know that yes, you want to go ahead and I will be your celebrant for the ceremony. Thank you very much. As I said, I always feel honoured when people do ask me to be their celebrant. So let's get all of the formalities out of the way. We'll get all the forms filled out, and then we can talk about the ceremony and different little bits and pieces that we want to do with that. Okay, so I have filled out some information on your celebrant booking form there. You can just check that everything's correct. So I've got your date, time, location, names, everything like that.
Whose number's that?
That's the Summer Grove contact. Yeah, just there, so your location
She's
and
ahead of
contact.
herself.
And we will just fill out, you've brought your passports along, thank you very much. We'll need that when we fill out the notice of intent to marriage, and I'll update just a little bit of information on there that we haven't filled out yet.
Cool. All looks good.
Everything is good on there
Yeah,
so
that's
far?
good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's fill in the final details. Alright, so you've had a chance to look through the information I sent you. Now we did discuss previously that we wanted to do the standard ring exchange. Were there any other symbols or rites of passage or anything we wanted to do there?
No, just
Keep
in
it
the rings.
nice and simple with the ring. Beautiful. I will make a note of that. And now Heidi, who will be giving you away? Who will be walking you down the aisle?
My brother,
Beautiful. And what was his name?
Drew.
Lovely. Drew Stone Street.
That's
one.
correct.
Lovely. Beautiful. And you've already emailed me through the music. So I have all of that there and we'll be able to incorporate that all in. Beautiful, lovely. Okay, so the next thing to do is fill out the notice of intended marriage. So as I described last time, this is what we need to fill out in order to get the ball rolling, and this is the legality of it. So I filled out the information at the top, just the information we've already discussed in regards to the time and location of the wedding. But what I do need from you here is, Heidi, if you fill out party 1 or party 2, and that you will fill out the other one, and that's just some personal information there about yourselves. So if you want to get started on that. And as we also discussed last time, which you read over, was the declaration of no legal impediment to marriage.
Yeah.
So if you just want to have a read over that, Matt, as well, and then we can switch over. And if you do have any questions, please let me know.
Does this have to be written in block letters as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please. Thank you. Block letters for both of the documents.
Cool.
And we do have a spare pen here
Thank you.
if you would like to complete that.
Full name, address. We have to put our full name, address, and occupation all in that bit.
Yes.
Alright.
And then the second step down is the what your status is, and yours will be never validly married.
Okay. And what do I put? I am a.
So this is describing your relationship status on the declaration of no legal impediment to marriage. So you've never validly married.
Okay,
Yes,
person who has
yes.
never been.
Yeah, so that's, if you just see the descriptions down below, so that would be if you had been previously married, we would need to indicate that on the form just there.
Was there anything like that one? Hadn't previously been married.
You have not previously been married? No, beautiful. So you don't need to fill out that bottom
Was that
there.
the second sheet?
Yep, and if you just continue onto there, and do you mind if you pass me over your passport
Of
as well?
course.
Beautiful, and I can just start having a look on that, and I'll also just jot down your passport number.
It's actually not related to which.
Says I believe that there is no legal impediment to my marriage with, and then do I just put her name?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Heidi's name, address, and the information just
What's
down
the
there
date
below
today?
as well.
13th.
13th today.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Is Alison one or two L's?
Perfect for each other. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much for that, Heidi. And I'm just, as I said, just going to jot down your passport number.
Occupation, reception.
Lovely.
I am
Thank
of
you.
marriable age because I've not. Do I circle it or?
Yeah, so just the one here.
I'm of married, strike out if unapplicable.
Yeah, so you are 18, so you will strike out B underneath that. I have not, yeah, so strike out B. Because A is saying that you are 18 years or older. Yeah, yeah. So if you were two little youngins, there would be different rules, but
So do I not have to do that bit? However, I applied for an
yeah,
order.
so that bit you don't need to do. That would be if you were under 18, you would need to apply for a court order and have parental consent.
And is that
And
this bit under here
Yeah, so-
declared at?
You've declared that information.
Yeah.
Place where declaration made.
so that's here. That's my office here at 9 Pritchard Place, Coogin.
Okay.
Very neat writing.
On, what's the date?
Today's the 13th of
The 10th.
the 10th of October.
Birthday in 2 days.
Before me. Okay, you sign that. Signature of.
And that's
Yep.
my I do the voting. Beautiful. So if you just fill out your information on that side there, and Heidi, that was the same as what we discussed earlier, that there's no reason why you should not legally be allowed to marry lovely Matt here. Beautiful. And is that your passport? Matt?
Yeah.
Don't mind if I just pinch that one as well,
Go for it.
and make sure I jot down all the relevant information. And yep, just down the bottom, Heidi. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. And I can.
Anything else?
Beautiful. It's just down the bottom here.
Signature.
Yep, you will need to signature there, and then I will sign both of those there as the witness. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
So that looks all good, thank you. So we're all locked and loaded, guys.
Awesome.
How exciting.
Signed our life away.
Beautiful. You're in this for real now. If you thought you weren't when you got down on one knee. Okay, and last but not least, so as we discussed the fee structure in the last meeting as well, and you have done the bank transfer of the $100, but I do just need to go through this again with you.
Yep.
So we've done the 100. It will now be a total fee of $300, payable on the 26th of March next year. And if you will just sign your lives away again there, agreeing to the terms and conditions down the bottom that we've already discussed in regards to the fee structure and when the final deposits will be paid. Lovely.
God, I got a bad.
My
Initial.
surname's too
Beautiful.
long.
So they will be changing soon. Lovely. Thank you. Okay, now they all look to be in order. Let's get on to the fun stuff.